How can I help my daughter manage school anxiety? This is anxiety that stems from stress of academic success, being able to do well in exams and tests, not peer pressure, mean girls, bullying, communication with teachers, none of that. We're just going to focus on academic success and the stress and anxiety that comes from wanting the success but not having it. To be able to help my daughter manage her academic anxiety, I first need to know 3 things: the what, the why, and the when. What is this anxiety really about? Other students have the same workload, they're doing just fine. Why is my daughter struggling? And when did this start? This is the most important question I need to ask, which helps me understand the root cause of the issue. We'll get into that in just a moment. Let's start with, what is this anxiety really about? So is she anxious that she will fail her exams because she doesn't understand the curriculum? Is she anxious that she can't live up to your expectations? Or is the anxiety overwhelmed from the workload and not knowing how to manage her time? Understanding the what tells me if this is a time management issue, parent pressure issue, or a self-esteem issue. Knowing the cause helps me find the right solution for my daughter. Now that I have understood what the problem is, I need to understand why this is even a problem to begin with. Let's say it's a time management issue, and I know several parents who have adolescent daughters. All these daughters have the same workload as my daughter, yet they're able to finish their schoolwork on time. So why is my daughter crashing and burning? This is an important step in figuring out, how can I help my daughter manage her anxiety? If she is falling behind because she's constantly distracted by her phone and social media apps on her phone, then I will solve the problem very differently than if she is falling behind due to her inability to comprehend her materials. Now, what if the issue is a little bit more complex? Let's say it's a self-esteem issue. My daughter doesn't think she's smart enough to get good grades. Well, why is this happening? Sometimes parents don't know the answer to this. Sometimes the daughters don't know the answer to this. Even the teachers sometimes don't know why this is happening. So you have to take it upon yourself to dig deep and find the why. Let's say I figure out that the reason for her low self-esteem is her constant self-criticism, her perpetual negative self-talk about herself, and her ability to do well even though she's extremely smart and has the ability to achieve these quite realistic goals that she has set for herself. Most parents make the mistake of stopping right there. They say, okay, I know what the problem is. I know why this is happening. So I'm just going to tell her she's smart. I'll tell her to do affirmations. I'll tell her to stop talking so negatively about herself to herself. I will just keep talking to her and supporting her. Let me ask you this. How's that working out for you? You wouldn't be here listening to this if that actually worked, would you? So why doesn't this work? Talking to her, asking her to be positive, etc. Because we're trying to fix the problem from the surface as opposed to digging deep down and finding the source of the problem. How do we find the source of the problem? We ask when. That's the third step. When did the problem start? Let me tell you a story of one of my 12-year-old clients. At some point, she had very high self-esteem. She would say that she is going to save the world and become a superhero. Somewhere down the line, she started doubting herself. When did that start? Usually, it's a situation where a person that our daughter highly looks up to says or does something to influence our daughter's opinion about herself negatively. For example, Stacy, my 12-year-old client, absolutely loved and adored her mathematics teacher. And she looked up to her, and this teacher encouraged her and believed in Stacy's ability to do well in math. One day, this teacher tells her, Stacy, you're really good at math and I believe in your abilities, but don't you think that aiming for the high achievers class is a bit out of reach for you? Because Stacy put so much faith and trust in this teacher, this one question, even though the teacher may have had good intentions, led Stacy to question her own abilities, question her own opinion about herself, which up until now was quite positive. So asking, when did my daughter start having low self-esteem issues, can lead me to one such incident where anxiety about doing well at school originates from. Now that we have all the pieces of the puzzle, the what, the why, and the most important, when, we start our resolution process. Now you're ready to help your daughter, and now you have the answer. So how do I help my daughter manage her anxiety? I find the source of the problem, then I eliminate the problem from its source. If at this point you're wondering, how on earth am I supposed to do this? In one of my clients, the cause of her anxiety went back to her witnessing her grandmother passing away 4 years ago. How do you even find these abstract connections? Sounds complicated. Well, first, it might not be so complicated, so you might be able to figure out on your own why your daughter has anxiety when it started. If you're not able to do this on your own, then and only then do I recommend you seek professional help. And when you seek professional help, make sure it's the right kind. Avoid the wrong kind of professional help. So what should you look for when you seek professional help for your daughter? Look for 2 qualifications. First, psychotherapists who specialize in root cause analysis. They usually give a 9 to 12 month plan. They'll say, I'll see your daughter every week for the first month, then every other week, and then every other month. And then after so many months have passed, her issue will be resolved. That's the kind of person you want to see. Someone who is result-oriented. Do not do talk therapy. That's not going to help your daughter resolve her anxiety. The second type of professionals I recommend are empowerment coaches who specialize in the age group that your daughter is in. So if your daughter is 10 to 15 years old, then look for an empowerment coach who specializes in adolescent girls. So not all empowerment coaches are made equal. So look for one who will give you a plan, a step-by-step process, and what the result will look like at the end of that process. There are, unfortunately, many coaches who are not very result-oriented and hence don't produce results and will have minimal impact on your daughter for very high fees. So only look for professionals and coaches who are data-driven and result-driven. That's worth paying for to get great results in a short amount of time. So to summarize, in order to help your daughter manage her school anxiety, find out what areas are causing her anxiety, why is she facing this anxiety, and when did it start? Once you have this information, you have a clear idea how to help her. If you're stuck, then and only then, seek professional help that uses data to create step-by-step strategy and produces results in a given short time frame. Remember this. If your process to empower your daughter isn't driven by data, then her results won't be driven by success. If your daughter has really high anxiety and very low self-esteem, then I'd love to invite you to our 15-minute case study video of one of our 10-year-old clients, Lana, who crushed her anxiety and skyrocketed her self-esteem in just 6 weeks. This video covers the 5-step process that she used, the strategy she implemented to lead to her mind-blowing success. So feel free to go ahead and check it out.